June 4, 1942. 10:24 a.m. The sky over the Pacific shimmered like polished steel as Lieutenant Commander Wade McClusky scanned the endless ocean below from 14,000 feet. His fuel gauges dipped dangerously low. 2 hours of searching, nothing. The Japanese fleet wasn't where it was supposed to be. His men, 32 SBD Dauntless dive bombers, followed silently, morale sinking with every passing mile. Radio crackled only with static. The sun beat mercilessly against the cockpits. The Pacific stretched empty and mocking. But then a thin white scar across the water. A lone Japanese destroyer, the Arashi, racing at full speed. Its wake cut the ocean like a desperate signature. Why was it isolated? McClusky's instinct surged. It must be rejoining the main force. He banked hard. No hesitation, no debate. That decision, fueled by intuition, not orders, would alter world history. Below him lay what U.S. intelligence had predicted yet doubted. For Japanese aircraft carriers, the pride of the Imperial Navy, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, all sailing in perfect diamond formation. On their decks, mechanics refueled fighters, ordnance crews armed bombers. Fuel hoses lay exposed like veins ready to burst. The carriers were at their most vulnerable, fully fueled, fully armed, and fully unaware of death above. Moments earlier, the Japanese had annihilated Torpedo Squadron 8-15 planes, reduced to floating wreckage and burning oil. Only one man survived. American attacks were failing. The operation teetered on the brink of disaster. But now, the skies above the Kido Butai were unguarded, every zero fighter down near sea level, chasing slower torpedo planes. McClusky steadied his flight stick. He gave the command, "Attack!" The fate of the Pacific hung in that shout. To understand the stakes in that moment, you must look back 6 months. After Pearl Harbor, the Japanese empire surged across Asia and the Pacific like a tidal wave. Their victories came fast, stunning, merciless. Hong Kong in 18 days. Singapore, the Gibraltar of the East, fallen in 70. The Philippines surrendered in mere weeks. The British Empire retreated humiliated. The Dutch East Indies collapsed. The Indian Ocean saw British ships sunk, the carrier Hermes. 2 cruisers, countless lives. Every Western force seemed weak, disorganized, inferior. Japan believed in Yamato Damashii, the divine spirit of Japan, superior training, superior discipline, superior willingness to die. Their vanguard, the unstoppable Kido Butai, the most powerful carrier strike force in the world. At its heart, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, a master strategist who understood America better than America understood itself. He believed a decisive battle would shatter U.S. morale before America's industry awakened. His plan, attack Midway Island, lure out the remaining U.S. carriers, and destroy them in one crushing blow. Over 200 ships set sail. For frontline carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, with 248 elite aircraft. Pilots forged in battle since China. Crews who moved like clockwork. Confidence unshakable. The Americans? Only 3 carriers, Enterprise, Hornet, and the battered Yorktown, patched together in 3 frantic days after Coral Sea. Yamamoto expected a trap, but believed Japan was setting it. He never considered someone might have broken his code. Hidden in a windowless room at Pearl Harbor, cryptanalysts at Station HYPO had cracked Japan's naval code. They knew AF, the Japanese target, was Midway. Their warning let Admiral Chester Nimitz set his own trap. He placed his carriers northeast of Midway, precisely where Japan least expected them. But victory did not come easily. Dawn of June 4th brought chaos and fear. Midway's marine fighters, outdated Brewster Buffaloes, were massacred by Zeros, Army B-17s, dropped bombs that splashed harmlessly into the sea. American attacks arrived in fragments, uncoordinated, unsupported, and suicidal. Torpedo Squadron, 8 from the Hornet charged low and slow, doomed before the first drop. One after another, their aircraft caught fire, spiraling into the sea. Men screamed silent final prayers over radios choked with static. Japanese Commander Mitsuo Fukida, watching from Akagi, scoffed at the Americans' bravery. Admirable, yes, but hopeless. He didn't realize the truth. Those futile sacrifices dragged every Japanese fighter downward. Every Guardian stripped from the sky above the carriers. Billowed crews continued loading bombs and torpedoes, switching from land bombs to anti-ship loads after Midway's attack. Fuel lines lay exposed. Planes packed wingtip to wingtip. A floating bomb. A spark waiting to ignite. Admiral Nagamo, believing U.S. power was broken, ordered a counterstrike. Nearly 90 aircraft idled on 3 carrier decks, engines rumbling with the promise of destruction. Timing was everything. If McClusky arrived earlier, planes safe below. Later, planes airborne. But at 10:24 a.m., the flight decks were death traps. And then shadows appeared from the sun. Dive bombers. American dive bombers. McClusky's SBD Dauntless screamed downward in a 70 dive. Wine shrieked. Gravity crushed lungs. Bomb sights locked onto destiny. Japanese lookouts shouted to late. Kaga was first. Bombs punched through the deck and detonated among fueled fighters. Aviation gasoline splashed fiery rivers. Torpedoes cooked off like volcanic eruptions. The ship became a raging inferno, a funeral pyre on open water. But too many planes had dived for Kaga. Lieutenant Richard Best, leading another section, realized Akagi remained untouched. He banked violently, ignoring every training rule to bring his bomb to bear. His single bomb hit amidships, exactly where torpedoes were stored. The explosion tore through the hangar deck like a demon unleashed. Flames leapt mast high. Nagamo was forced to abandon his flagship. Soryu suffered 3 nearly simultaneous strikes, machinery shattering. Flight deck collapsing. Below, men died trapped in smoke-filled tombs. Others leapt into burning oil. Officers chose death with their ships. Captain Okada of Kaga held his bridge till flames consumed him. Captain Yanagimoto of Soryu refused rescue, bowing to tradition and doom. In just 5 minutes, 3 carriers lost. Half the Kido Butai destroyed. Over 200 aircraft turned to ash. For the first time in the war, Japan wasn't winning. Japan was bleeding. Only Hiryu remained. Rear Admiral Taman Yamaguchi, proud, resolute, refused defeat. Launch everything, he commanded. Dive bombers streaked toward the U.S. carrier Yorktown. Explosions ripped through her hull. Fires roared beneath decks. But damage control crews fought like demons, patched, reinforced, revived. The Japanese returned, astonished to see their target still afloat. A second wave struck. Yorktown listed, wounded beyond saving. Yet she bought time, sacrificed that shielded the rest of the fleet. At 5 p.m., American dive bombers found Hiryu. For direct hits ignited fuel and bombs. Flames devoured her from bow to stern. Yamaguchi stood firm on the bridge. His captain begged him to live. No, he said quietly. Let us go down with our ship. They remained aboard as fire swallowed them, warriors bound to a dying empire. By nightfall, the sea steamed with heat from the burning steel. All 4 Japanese carriers that struck Pearl Harbor were gone. Japan lost. For frontline carriers, 248 aircraft, over 3,000 irreplaceable sailors and pilots. The core of their naval aviation, gone forever. America lost. 1 carrier Yorktown, 307 men. But America could rebuild. Japan could not. Within a year, the U.S. commissioned over 20 new carriers. Japan scrambled to fill decks with barely trained rookies flying outdated aircraft. The decline was unstoppable. Admiral Yamamoto, shocked in silence aboard Yamato, whispered the unthinkable. The war has turned against us. Japan retreated. The Midway invasion was cancelled. From that point on, the Imperial Navy fought only desperate defensive battles. 2 months later, Marines landed on Guadalcanal, the first step toward Japan's doorstep. McClusky returned to Enterprise. Aircraft riddled with 52 bullet holes, fuel nearly gone. He received the Navy Cross, he insisted. I just did my job. But history knew better. Those 5 minutes to 10:24 to 10:29 a.m. became the hinge on which World War II pivoted. A reminder that sometimes, the future is decided in the time it takes for a single bomb to fall.